banter takes, our takes we share with each other every week. No prep, no warnings, no idea what's coming next. Each week, we bring the hottest takes to the table without telling each other beforehand, so every reaction, every disagreement, and every meltdown is completely real. Some takes will be smart, some takes will be terrible, and at least one of us will probably upset an entire fan base. So we'll get into our takes. My first take. Um, Tom Brady, after football, has become a great commentator, but he should leave it at that. The acting on display was awkward at Fanatics Fest this past weekend. Yeah. Tom Brady, like I say, I am a fan of Tom Brady. I've talked about it. My wife's a major fan, Patriot fan there. And we talked about it when he was, I think he's on Fox, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
On Fox, when he does his commentary, he's really great. It almost reminds me of I would say a better Tony Romo. Tony Romo has a lot of great things and qualities to be a commentator, but there's a few other things that Tony Romo does that ick me. But Tom Brady, I think, is solid overall. The knowledge he has and just how he communicates on the mic. But then some of his acting has been questionable even before this. I remember seeing him in like some cameos in TV shows and movies, and isn't always the best. And this little spat he had with Logan Paul at Fanatics Fest, great for views, great for the attention, but probably not a good look for him. What's going to come out of this? I don't think Tom Brady's going to go to the WWE. I don't think they're going to have a boxing match. Maybe a card off, who could buy the most expensive card, Pokemon versus sports card, because I know Logan Paul's a big Pokemon guy. Tom Brady has his own sports card store, I think the Vault or something.
That's right.
Um, but yeah, like I said, not everybody could be a good actor. Tom Brady, I think if you want to do something beyond commentary, beyond owning a football team, be a coach. I think he would do amazing at being a coach. I'll say it. It's taking maybe our job. Do podcasting. You might do really great at podcasting, especially with some of the connections you have. But acting, until I could see maybe a little more at the moment, nah, not for me.
Yeah, no, completely agree, John. I know that this take might get you in a little bit of hot water there in the household. You
It
gotta be
might,
careful.
it might.
Uh, but love Tom Brady as well. Phenomenal to watch on the field as he was year after year, and he's had really good moments acting. Like one of my favorite commercials is the one where he's in a sporting goods store and people are just like,
The
I can't
Boston,
understand your Boston accent. And he's
yeah,
like, I'm from California. He gets all
yeah,
pissed off. And then he's like, wicked
yeah.
hot chowder. And, he's just mocking him and it just has no relevancy to his actual accent. And I love that. I think that when Tom Brady is acting, he plays a really good person who's like agitated and has a reactionary response of just being angry, because that's how he was on the football field. And I think
Yeah.
it comes a little bit more natural. The thing between him and Logan Paul in this WWE thing seemed a little bit more like, kind of like, like he's just mimicking or like being kind of like, I don't know, lack of a better word, sassy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the football or at the FIFA final, he's there flipping off Logan Paul with like a little grin on his face. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
that wasn't it as much. And then he did a little bit of acting with
Mm-hmm.
like the Gronk, with the getting him into the cane sauce, I think was
Mm-hmm.
another one. Again, Tom Brady, he does it just felt a little forced,
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of it. And the WWE thing, I just don't think it's up his alley. I
No.
feel like the NBA guys are doing a great job. I think Karl Anthony Towns has had a great cameo in WWE
Mm-hmm.
recently. Brunson and Hallie,
Yeah.
phenomenal as well. Like they know what they're doing. They grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of fit the vibe of it. Brady, I don't know. It doesn't gel right. And
Yeah.
then I don't know. Maybe it's a bias. Much to do with the Paul brothers. I think it's just oversaturated.
Yeah. I think if you wanted to do something, Paul Brothers, I know why he did Paul Brothers get a lot of attention. It'll get views. It'll bring eyes to him. And if that's what the goal was, he reached that goal. But for validity and just that respect factor in entertainment, I don't think the Paul brothers are still respected too much. Like I say, in the boxing world, Jake Paul, um, I don't think he still has the respect of boxers. I think a lot of people still comment on his boxing events and how they might be fixed or not. I don't know. I have no say on it, so don't come after me. But it's just what I always hear about. And then Logan Paul, like I say, everything he's done, from YouTube, he's always going above and beyond. And I think WWE maybe might be his calling, but this starting spats with professional stars saying, he says he could knock out Patty the Batty, which honestly he may be able to just because of height and weight differential. There's a big difference between Logan Paul with all his muscles and if they're natural or not, that's something I don't know. It's about 210 compared to Patty the Bat or even Conor McGregor, who, when they go into fights, they're at 140.
Mm-hmm.
So and you have to admit there's a big difference there. It's not the same type of MMA as it was back in the day. So, like I say, if you wanted to get attention, there are a lot of other stars there that he could have done it. The obsession chick. They could have had a very funny obsession type, skit where she was obsessed with Tom Brady, where, he broke the thing and, she was going to go crazy. That would have been amazing because, like I say, she's still so popular, Indy Navarrete. So there was so much opportunities and he picked them, but I think it's because he knows eyes will always go to the Paul brothers.
Yeah, for sure. And then they're both into cards. So that's probably the crossover, of course, with it being a Fanatics driven event.
Mm-hmm.
They own, much of anything involving cards these days. Um, Kind of seems like one of those things too that, Brady goes and does WWE, does it once. They'll cut up whatever clothing he was wearing and then
Mm-hmm.
put it in a bunch of cards and then
Yeah.
resell it. There's definitely a ton of marketing behind it. And I feel like that's the overall direction they might go
Yeah.
with it. Um, but yeah, felt a little out of place. Uh, didn't totally agree with it. In with the Paul brothers, I don't know. Again, I feel like it's oversaturated. I understand, the effect that they have on a lot of people. The
Mm-hmm.
younger generations kind of grew up on them YouTube wise,
Yeah.
and they've kind of stuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
But they are honestly the kings of being able to say, "I could do this, I could do that," with trying to back it up, but maybe not fully doing it. But they're smart enough to monetize it in an insane way.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at Jake Paul and what he's done with boxing. Like you said, nobody really sees him as much in the industry, but he was a top earner
Mm-hmm.
in all of boxing. And then, Logan Paul has made a fortune, I'm sure, out of wrestling, and
Mm-hmm.
in everything that he does there. And then he has his own podcast show, and I'd kind of be curious at this point to see if Jake Paul actually pursues an NFL career, saying that he could play slot receiver.
I doubt
Um,
it.
yeah, no, likewise. And then, going back to Patty the Batty, give me Patty the Batty post fight, 50 burgers in, gains the weight back.
Mm-hmm.
I think he demolishes and wipes the floor with Logan Paul
Yeah.
to catch up the weight. But you're right. Weight differential would be the biggest factor because if Logan Paul doesn't have that, he's going to get
Yeah.
manhandled.
Yeah. And I still think Patty the Batty could manage Jake Paul with a weight differential in an MMA fight. In a boxing fight, it's a whole different game. But MMA wise, I think Patty the Batty will take him on. But
Mhm.
yeah. Well, one question with you since we're talking about this Fanatics Fest. Are you a fan of it, or you just think it's just way too much?
You know, I'm going to answer this like a businessman, John, and I'm going to answer it as a personal person.
Yeah.
Business endeavor, invite us. Would love to attend,
Yeah.
just for the pure content and interview possibilities. That would be absolutely phenomenal. Somebody who, just as an outsider, I wouldn't find much enjoyment in it. I think it's a cluster F of individuals packed into one thing, and you're not going to be able to attend every event, it seems like, and
Yeah.
what celebrity you want to go see. And it just seems really like a very saturated event. And
Mhm.
Fanatics owns, just monopolized
Mhm.
anything to do with sports memorabilia, apparel, and I'm already kind of not a fan of them because of that. Because I feel like the quality has gone down a lot. If I'm just being real about it, hopefully they kind of fix that in the future. But I mean, I think that's why I score $4.99 on a Sauce Gardner jersey. I mean, we're not seeing Mitchell and Nesco that low.
Yeah.
If I'm being perfectly honest, uh, quality's just better. And yeah, that's how I feel overall about it. I don't know. Maybe Fanatics owns Mitchell and Ness at this point,
Yeah.
which might be totally wrong. But yeah, feel like it's just too much going on at once at that
Mhm.
event. And they're just looking to break news and get a bunch of people to continue to buy up their all of their
Mhm.
stuff. What do
Yeah.
you think?
I think the same. I think I see it as both ways. Like Fanatics Fest, invite us, make us think differently.
Yeah.
It looks like an awesome event. I think the idea of it is great, but I think the way it's executed and just what I see from videos, I'm not a fan of it. I wouldn't like it. Like the whole Canes thing. I understand Canes a sponsor, but like that whole dunking into the cane sauce, like for me, I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. Like I say, having, Panini there with cars, selling cars, trading, doing stuff like that. These sports companies, fine, have drink, sponsors, things like that, giving away free stuff, giving away free canes. Hey, I'm a fan of that for sure, giving away free canes, but the whole dumping into the sauce that Gronk did, I was just like, Gronk, are you really that desperate for like money? Like, dude, just go back to doing Gronk on the beach during Super Bowl weekend. He could have done it for FIFA weekend in Vegas. We're hosting, a party, and probably would have made just as much and not been as embarrassing, and more his forte of a party guy. So I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like I've always said, and yeah, maybe we're just haters. It's never here in LA. It's always in New York. Maybe that's why we feel this way.
Yeah.
But from what I see, I enjoy the conversations. I enjoy seeing some of the celebrities, but I just feel like it's way too much, um, and not as organized as other events like that, such as Comic Con. I think Comic Con is just still a lot more smoother than that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Another thing that I kind of see it as now too is it's an event where they're begging for something big newsworthy item to
Mm-hmm.
drop. Like I think that they were really relying on LeBron to kind of drop the news of where he was going to go next
Mm-hmm.
season. Didn't do it, obviously, left it up in the air. I think he used the word process, and everybody thinks he's going to go to the Philadelphia 76ers because of it. um, and without that big news dropping, it just kind of feels like what we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
very just how much money are they paying for all these celebrities to attend. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
feels like a publicized in a public viewing of his all white parties
Mm-hmm.
that he holds.
Yeah.
It's just every celebrity's athlete that you can name, all there doing something random. Um, and I don't know, is the Gronk thing an initiation of some sort? Because I
Maybe.
don't know why he's getting dunked in cane sauce.
Yeah.
Um, it seems like a Gronk thing to do at the same time, though. So
It, it does a little bit, but yeah, I felt like it was just not really his niche.
hmm
But yeah, like I said, the question you asked, and then talking about it a little bit, Fanatics Fest. I I will say I'm not a fan, and like I say, like I mentioned, who knows? Maybe because it's not here in LA. Like, let's see them do something in LA. Let me see if it's the same. If it's the same as in New York, it's one. It may be like a one and done. Just show up once, experience it, and be like, all right, I'm good. Call it
yeah,
that.
for sure. No, absolutely. It's. I guess it was convenient with the FIFA World Cup this time around,
Mm-hmm.
with that being over there in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, mix it up a little bit. Have the
Yeah.
event elsewhere, not just New York. Um, Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Invite us still. We'll
But yeah,
change our
but
minds.
Tom Brady. Like I say, fan of him. Should have done something different, but also understand why he did it with the Paul brothers.
Yeah.